So today I'm going to show you how to factor by grouping when A is not 1. Now, in the previous video I reminded you, or actually I showed you, that in x squared plus 2x plus 1, we have an A, a B, and a C. A is the number which comes before the x squared, which is 1. B is the number which comes before the x, which is 2. And C is the number that comes before the that comes before the nothing. It's the one that stands by itself, is 1. You need to know that in order to complete the rest of this. So here we have 6x squared plus 19x plus 10. Let's go ahead and label what's what. A is 6, B is 19, C is 10. Now we talked about how you cannot simply find two numbers that multiply to give you positive 10 but that add to 19. This doesn't exist. This is the problem that we have with factoring more complicated problems. In any problems where A is not 1. In this case, A is 6. So for step 1, there's one major change. We are going to be looking for two numbers that multiply to give us A times C. This takes into account that we now have a number in front of this x squared. At the same time, those two numbers need to add together still to give us B. So A times C in this case is 6 times 10, which is 60, and B is 19. So we're looking for two numbers that multiply together to give us 6 times 10, but that add together to give us 19. So if you think about it for a minute, we got 60 and 19. The two numbers are 15 times 4, and 15 plus 4. So that's step 1. Step 2, basically what you're doing here is you are breaking apart this 19. You would have had to have added two like terms to get 19, because you had to add two like terms every time we multiplied out. So you're backing it up. We're taking it back. So what you do is you take those two numbers, take the two numbers, and split up the middle term. So we're going to have 6x squared, and we are going to split the 19 into plus 15x plus 4x plus 10. Right now would be a good time to pause and make sure that you copy down everything that is on here. Alright, so now that we have our two numbers, we're going to group the first two terms and second two terms using parentheses. Basically, you are just splitting them from each other. So you have 6x squared plus 15x plus 4x plus 10. We are going to split them here and there. Actually, that positive needs to be in there. Alright, so we've grouped them. That's step 3. Now, in the previous video that you watched, I showed you how to factor out the greatest common factors. So what you need to do now is factor the greatest common factor from each grouped expression. Okay, so we have 6x squared plus 15x pulled out of the first one. Our greatest common factor of numbers would be a 3. And since there's an x in both of them, we can take out an x as well. So I'm going to take out a 3 from both of them, which means I'm going to divide them both by 3x. 6x squared divided by 3x gives me 2x plus 5. 15x divided by 3x is 5. Alright, same thing with the 4x. Factor out here, what can we factor out? We can factor out a positive 2. We'll factor out a positive 2. Over here we have factored out a positive 3x. Factor out a positive 2 and you get 2x plus 5. You should notice in the parentheses is the same in both of these. That is something that is important. The expressions in parentheses must be the same. This is another good time to pause the video and take some notes. So step 5 is to write your factors. Alright, so the first factor is the factor that is inside of the parentheses. In this case, it is 2x plus 5. That is one of our factors. But what's the other one? The other factor are those two terms that are outside in no man's land. 3x plus 2. That is your answer. If you want to check, multiply it out, you will get back to the exact same expression that we started off with.